Today we are fixing up an eggplant casserole and you're just going to love this recipe. Hi, I'm Melissa Diane, and on this channel we have so much fun in the kitchen and in the garden and just all around our home. And I think today you're just going to love this little casserole. Here are the ingredients that we're going to use today for our eggplant casserole. We're going to start with our eggplants, and I've got 3 here today that I'm using. You can use anywhere from 2 to 3 for this recipe. And these are about small to medium size. And for all of these ingredients, I'll put the measurements and everything in the description below the video. First of all, you're going to need some oil. Some olive oil will work perfect. We need some butter. We're going to have some chopped onion, some garlic back here. I just have that mashed up in my little garlic masher. Some flour. Now you're not going to need that much flour, but we need to have a little bit so you can dip out of it. And I'll tell you all about that in just a bit. You're going to need some salt and then some tomatoes, chopped up tomatoes. Over here we've got some sliced mozzarella cheese. For our seasoning, we're going to be using some fresh rosemary, and also in there is some oregano chopped up, some basil, some parsley, some Parmesan cheese, and then over here I've got some chopped up mushrooms. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our butter. Let's drop that in there. And then we're going to go ahead and turn this on. Let that start melting. We're also going to put in just a little bit of olive oil also. This is actually some oil that Jay brought back on one of his trips from, actually from Israel. Just want to go ahead and get this melting. Now, and as soon as this all gets melted, which is just about happening, we're going to then go ahead and put in our onions. Let's put our onions in. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit, and we're just going to cook these for a few minutes until they get really nice and soft. We've been going probably about 4 minutes, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn it down just a little bit. I'm going to put in our garlic. Wow, that's starting to smell really good. So we're going to stir that around. Let that go for about a minute. Okay, we've been going for about a minute. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in the mushrooms. And these mushrooms, we're going to let them cook for a few minutes until they get soft also. Our mushrooms are looking just wonderful with these onions, and now we're going to add in our chopped up tomatoes. So this is really starting to look pretty. Now we're going to go ahead and add in some of our fresh herbs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this parsley, and I'm going to also put some of this on top when we get all done. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this, and I'm just going to sprinkle this all across the top. If you have fresh, then definitely you want to use the fresh. If you don't, that's okay. Main thing is you want to get this flavor. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the basil in. I actually use quite a bit of basil. I'm going to stir it here in just a minute. Put a lot of that basil in there. This is going to give it that wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Now let's put a little bit more basil in here. I saved some of that parsley to put on top. But for this basil, I'm going to put all of this actually in the recipe. I'm going to turn this down now so it's going to start simmering. And as it's simmering, I'm going to now take just a little bit here of my rosemary and put that all across the top. I love having fresh herbs outside. I keep the rosemary, if you've never grown rosemary, look it up and go get you some, because you can make the most beautiful rosemary bushes out in your garden. They last all year. I cover them during the winter. I'm down here in South Texas area, and so north of Houston, and so I do cover them during the winter, but those rosemary bushes will last all year, and they're big and beautiful, and they smell so good. I like to keep them out there by the pool and just run out there and get us some. And I'm just gonna let that simmer actually for a few minutes, And then what I'm going to do once it's simmered is I'm going to take this and we're going to put it into another bowl because we're going to use this skillet for something else. Now what I've done is I took that mixture that was here in this skillet and I have placed this into another bowl, and I'm just going to set it aside for a few minutes. Now I'm going to take this same skillet and I'm going to add in just a little oil again. There we go. And we're going to heat this back up. And then after that, we're going to add in our chopped up eggplant. So while that was sauteing a while ago, I went ahead and I went over and I got our eggplant all chopped up in little cubes. So it looks like we're heating up pretty good. So now let's start to put in our eggplant. Now let me tell you, when you look at this, there's a couple that have escaped. When you look at this, you're going to think, oh, that's a lot of eggplant, but it's going to cook down, okay? So we're going to sit here, we're going to stir this, and we're going to cook this until it starts to brown and get soft. Our eggplant is now starting to get brown. And so once it starts to turn brown, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in just a little bit of flour, about a tablespoon of flour. And what that helps with is there's going to be a lot of moisture that comes out of these eggplants. We're just going to mix all this up in a minute, and it's going to help with that. And then also, it's going to sound like a lot, but I put about a tablespoon of salt in. Like I said, it sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of veggies, and then this eggplant really, it soaks this up. So almost a tablespoon of salt in there. And then we're going to mix that all around. And once you've gotten this all mixed up now, we're going to put back in there our mixture with all of our tomatoes and everything. So here we go. And y'all, this is just smelling so good. And it's actually really easy. The hardest thing about this is just getting it all prepared. So we're going to mix for a little bit, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with it. And if this is being helpful, please pop that like button. That way I know which recipes you like. And if you'd like to, we would love to have you subscribe, and you could join our YouTube family. I'm going to turn this back up just a little bit, and then I'm going to get our casserole dish ready. Now the oven, I have it preheating already. It was preheated to 375. And let me go get the casserole dish. So I have the oven preheating, and let me show you my casserole dish. I'm going to use this one, and I went ahead and sprayed some cooking spray there in the bottom. This is such a pretty little casserole dish, and I will put a link for this in the description below the video. So now I'm going to take everything in my pan and my skillet, and we're going to put that in our casserole dish. What I've done is, let me scoot up here so you can see this. What I've done is I have taken about half, you can see over here, about half of my mixture, and I've placed that in this casserole dish. And now I'm going to take some mozzarella cheese, and I'm just going to lay some slices all across here. And we'll put a little piece here in the corner. Okay, and now we're going to finish adding in the rest of our casserole. I have the rest of the casserole in here. So we're just going to lay some more mozzarella cheese across here. And then after that, we're going to put some Parmesan cheese on top. There we go. Now let me get that Parmesan cheese. We're going to put that all over now. All right, so now we're going to pop it in the oven. So we've got our casserole here, and it's all ready to go in. And we're going to set it for 30 minutes. So I'll see you in about 30 minutes. So here we are. We've been going about 30 minutes. It looks wonderful and it smells great. Be sure and check out that next video that's popping up, and I'll see you over there in a few minutes. Bye-bye.